My sister Edna and I used to be close, like really close. She's 5 years older than me, and ever since we were kids, she's been the one I looked up to. When our parents couldn't afford much, she stepped up. She started working odd jobs to help put food on the table, and even paid for my school fees when things got tough. She has always been there for me. So when she promised to help me after I finished school, I believed her without question. Edna said she'd open a small chop bar for me so I could have my own business. I was over the moon. I had dreams of running my own place, being independent, and making my family proud. But as time went on, those dreams started to feel like a lie. Edna kept postponing the chop bar. Relax, I'll do it when I'm ready, she'd say. But I saw her buying new clothes, shoes, and even a fancy phone for herself. Meanwhile, I was stuck waiting, feeling like my dreams didn't matter to her. It hurt. I felt like she was prioritizing herself over me, even though she'd promised to help. One day, Edna introduced me to this old man. Let's call him Mr. M. I didn't think much about it at first. Edna had a serious boyfriend. He was kind and hardworking, and he really loved her. Later, I found out that Mr. M was Edna's sugar daddy. I didn't judge her. I guess she needed extra cash. Life is hard, and we all do what we have to do to survive sometimes. Now, one day she came to pick me up, and she was with Mr. M. She had postponed my chop bar date again, and so I asked her about it. Edna got angry, and we started arguing in She asked me why I was bringing up the chop bar issue when she has asked me to give her more time. She told me she would do it when she's ready, and that I should stop pressuring her. I was just tired of my life at this point. I felt like she was stringing me along, and I was tired of waiting. Now, one day I went to Edna's house and Mr. M was there. She left us to go do something in her room when Mr. M came to sit beside me. He made me an offer. He said he'd give me the money I needed to open my chop bar if I slept with him. But so is He told me he'd give me the money I needed for my chop bar if I slept with him. I was stunned. This man was bold and straightforward. He told me not to worry and that he would keep it a secret from my sister. I didn't know what to say, but I was desperate. I felt like Edna had abandoned me, and here was a chance to finally get what I'd been waiting for. So I agreed. He took my number and he gave me his. Later that day, he called me and asked me to come to his place that weekend. I told him I would think about it. Before I agreed to go, I called Edna again. I just wanted her to give me a date. At least for her to tell me to wait for 2 months or 3 months. But immediately I brought up the chop bar, she got angry. She called me ungrateful and said that if I asked about it again, she would not open the chop bar for me. That was the last straw. Enough was enough. I called Mr. M and told him I would come and see him that weekend. The first time I went there, we did the do-right in his living room. It didn't even last long. It was very fast and quick. After he finished, he gave me some money. But it wasn't enough. He said he didn't have the full amount and asked me to come back later. This was not the deal we had, but I had no option. A few days later, he called me to come over and I did. This time around, we went to his bedroom. We were still in the acts when Edna showed up. She caught us red-handed. Part 3 is She screamed at me, calling me a traitor, and said I'd betrayed her. I tried to explain that I was desperate, that I needed the money, but she wouldn't listen. She blocked me on everything and told our parents that I was prostituting myself. My parents were furious. They believed Edna without even hearing my side of the story. My mom went as far as talking to our pastor, who called me out in front of the whole congregation. He said I was possessed by a marine spirit and needed prayers. I was humiliated. My family turned against me, and I felt completely alone. Now, Edna's boyfriend is planning to propose to her soon. He had come to see my family with his people for the list. He has no idea about Mr. N. He doesn't know that his innocent girlfriend has a sugar daddy. Part of me wants to tell him the truth, to hurt Edna like she hurts me. Why did she have to bring our parents into this issue? Now, I have the money to open my chop bar. Edna has not spoken a word to me since. She's acting as if I'm the only one wrong in this whole situation. And my family now thinks I'm some kind of sinner. I want to hurt her back. Should I tell her boyfriend the truth? And am I the asshole for sleeping with her sugar daddy when she herself has a serious boyfriend and was only with him for his money? This follower needs your opinions, babes. Please drop some below. And don't forget to follow me for more story times. I sell wigs, and a few months ago, I received a huge order of wigs from a woman worth almost 2 million naira. She was supposed to pay the full amount before delivery, but she claimed her bank was having some issues with the transfer. She said she would ask someone to wire the money to me. Now, a little background story. I was introduced into this business by a friend we'll call Leticia. She started a wig business first, and at the time, I had just finished school and didn't know what to do with my life. She taught me everything I know, where to buy the wigs and everything else, and I'm so grateful to her. Now, after the woman told told me she would let someone else wire the money. I received a transfer of 200,000 naira. I called her and she said the person didn't have the full amount and that she would go to the bank to sort the problem out. So I should give the goods to the delivery guy to meet her at the bank. Once she took care of the payment, she would give it to the delivery guy and take the goods. Normally, I wouldn't do this, but this woman seemed nice and genuine. Besides, they were meeting at a bank. What could go wrong? My younger brother was my delivery guy. I gave the wigs to him and told him not to hand them over until he received the full amount, which was 1.8 million naira plus the delivery fee. About 3 hours later, my brother called me, his voice shaky and frantic. He said the woman had asked him to wait behind the bank for her since she was still inside resolving the issue. He parked there waiting when another motorcycle pulled up beside him. Before he knew it, the man on the motorcycle had pulled out a gun and demanded the package. Patricia. My brother, scared out of his mind, complied and they drove away. He was in shock and didn't know what to do. He immediately called the woman several times, but she didn't pick up. So he went into the bank and used the name she had given me, but she had never been there. That was when he called me. I also called her number several times. It went through, but she didn't pick up. Then she blocked both my number and my brother's number. I realized I had been scammed. I tried calling her from different numbers. Sometimes she would pick up, but as soon as she heard my voice, she would instantly block the number. My husband also called her, telling her we had traced their number and would arrest her soon if she didn't pay the rest of the money. She just laughed and blocked him too. I was at a loss and didn't know what to do. I went to the police, but they didn't take any action. Letitia was with me every step of the way, and she told me to give it to God, and as karma would deal with the person. Losing this amount of money significantly affected my business. I was always crying because I didn't know what else to do. I kept trying to call the number to plead with her to pay me back, but she continuously blocked me and didn't answer. I even thought she might have changed the number. Now, one day, I went to the market with Letitia and ended up at her house. This was about 2 months after the woman had scammed me. We ate together and watched TV in the living room when Letitia fell asleep. I went out to buy some water at a shop in front of her house. On my way back, I met a lady who was Letitia's neighbor. She said she had heard about what happened to me and expressed their sympathy. For some reason, whenever I met someone new, I felt compelled to use their phone to call the number that scammed me. Since the woman kept blocking all my attempts, I asked this neighbor if I could use her phone, and she said hers was in her bedroom. She suggested I go back to Letitia's place and that she would bring it. 5 minutes later, she returned the phone and said I could bring it back when I was finished. I said a little prayer and called the number. Almost immediately, I felt something vibrating under the couch I was sitting on. Patricia. At first, I thought it might be Letitia's phone that had fallen under the couch. Then it stopped vibrating when the call ended. Feeling suspicious, I looked under the couch and discovered a small Android phone hidden under the cushion. I called the number again and the phone started vibrating. I was shocked. How was this possible? What was going on? I woke Letitia up immediately, and at first she was angry that I had disturbed her, but when she saw the phone, her expression changed, and she claimed she didn't know how it ended up under her couch. Fortunately, the phone had no password, and I could see pictures of Letitia and her son on it. We began arguing immediately, and I called my brother. Letitia insisted that someone else must have used the phone to scam me, and claimed she hadn't used that phone in a long time, which was why it was under the couch. I knew she was lying, so I demanded my money back. My brother went to the police and brought an officer and she was arrested. Later, I heard from friends that Letitia had been gossiping about me behind my back, claiming that she had introduced me to the wig business and accusing me of stealing a client. She also said I had become proud just because I was making more money. I realized she had always been jealous of me. She never liked me. Now, a day after she was arrested, her mom came to see me, begging me to release her daughter, promising they would pay me back once they got the money. I told her no, and almost immediately she called me a bad friend. According to her, Letitia had always been there for me, so I should forgive her for what she had done. But I stood my ground and she left angrily. I want my money before she's released. Some people who know us think I'm overreacting. I just want to know if I'm the asshole for refusing to release Letitia until she pays me back. Let's follow and niche your opinions, babes. Please drop some below and don't forget to follow me for more story times. It was my first year at university, and I had just gotten out of a toxic relationship that had left me broken. I felt like I couldn't trust anyone, and my self-esteem was at an all-time low. That is when I met this girl we will call Kate. Kate was the kind of person who could light up a room with her energy. We clicked instantly. She was funny, outgoing, and always knew how to make me feel better. We became inseparable, studying together, going out, and even sharing our deepest secrets. She was the friend I needed at a time when I felt completely alone. A couple of months after my breakup, Kate introduced me to her older brother, brother, let's call him Daniel. He was charming, good looking, and seemed genuinely interested in me. At first, I was hesitant. I wasn't ready to jump into another relationship, and I was still healing from the pain of my last one. But Kate kept pushing me, telling me how different Daniel was from my ex. She said he would treat me better, that he was kind and caring. I trusted her, so I decided to give him a chance. And at first, Daniel was everything Kate promised. He was sweet, attentive, and made me feel special. From the very beginning, I told him I was not ready to have physical intimacy. I wanted to wait, and he told me not to worry and that he was there for me. This guy was just too sweet and amazing. Within weeks, I was forgetting about my ex. He would call me several times a day to check up on me. One day, he asked me to come and spend the night with him. I felt this was a bad idea because even though I was falling for him, I still wanted to hold on with a physical intimacy. He told me not to worry and that he would not force me to do anything I didn't want to do. He said he just wanted to spend time with me. Watch movies and talk. And so I agreed to go. But in the middle of the night, I couldn't help myself and we did. And giving myself to this man was the worst mistake I could ever make. Part 2 is everything changed after we slept together. It was only a month into our relationship and suddenly he became distant, cold, and sometimes even rude. I didn't understand what was happening. I tried to talk to Kate about it, but she brushed it off, saying he was going through a lot and that I should give him time. But things got only worse. He stopped calling me, and even when I call him, sometimes he would not pick my calls. Like everything just changed overnight. But on days he wanted me to come over and sleep, he would be nice to me. It was as if I was dealing with another person entirely. We had only dated for a few months at this point, and because of what I went through in my previous relationship, I wanted to just give up on this relationship. But Kate told me not to give up on her brother. She said there was a lot happening at home and that he needed me more than ever. It was because of her that I stayed. I had also fallen for him and I hoped things would change. But things just kept getting worse. One day, I went to Daniel's place to talk to him. My phone was dead, so I borrowed his to call Kate about something school related. She didn't answer, so I decided to send her a WhatsApp message. I don't know what made me do it, but after sending the message, I scrolled through their chat history. What I found shattered me. Part 3 is they had been lying to me the entire time. Daniel never cared about me. All he wanted was to sleep with me, and Kate knew it. In their messages, she had told him I was and that a few sweet words would be enough to get me into bed. They had been mocking me behind my back, laughing at how naive I was. Daniel even joked about intimate details of our relationship, things I never thought a brother and sister would discuss. To make matters worse, I found out Daniel had a serious girlfriend, someone Kate knew about but never mentioned. I felt sick to my stomach. I quickly took screenshots of their messages and confronted Daniel. At first, he laughed it off, saying I was overreacting and taking things too seriously. But when he realized I wasn't backing down, he tried to gaslight me, saying I was being dramatic. I left his place in tears, feeling completely betrayed. I went straight to Kate's house to confront him. She tried to downplay everything, saying she only said those things because she needed money from her brother. She apologized and claimed Daniel really cared about me, that the girl abroad didn't matter. But I wasn't buying it. She still wanted me to stay with him, even after everything. I left her place feeling angry and humiliated. I was not going to let this just go. They were not just going to use me and go scot-free. I decided to teach them both a lesson. Part 4 is Now, Kate was dating a lecturer at our university, a married man old enough to be a father. When they first started dating, I was the first person she told. She bragged about how he was giving her good grades and buying her expensive gifts. She even sent me voice notes detailing their intimate moments, joking about how he couldn't satisfy her in bed. She admitted she hadn't studied for his course in months, but was still passing with flying colors. She told me every detail of her relationship with this lecturer. Now, Kate's father is a strict soldier who doesn't tolerate nonsense. According to her, he still disciplined her physically, even as an adult. He was funding her education and supporting her financially, and she still lived at home. I knew he wouldn't stand for her behavior if he found out. And so after what she and her brother did to me, I sent her father everything. The messages between Kate and me, the voice notes, the evidence of her affair with the lecturer. Before I left Daniel's place, I had also taken his girlfriend's number. And so I reached out to her and sent her screenshots of his messages with Kate. I told her we've been dating for months and I didn't know he was dating someone else. She called me and we talked for a long time. She broke up with him that same day. I later found out he was even preparing his documents to join her overseas, so he lost that opportunity. Now, the next day after I sent Kate's father the messages, all hell broke loose. Kate's father stormed onto campus, dragging her along with him. He was shouting for the lecturer, calling him out in front of everyone. It was chaos. Kate was in tears, humiliated as her father publicly disgraced her, calling her names I can't even repeat here. He dragged her and the lecturer away, and the whole campus was buzzing with the news. Kate couldn't show her face on campus for weeks. I had her blocked, so she contacted me from a different number, accusing me of ruining her life. Some of our mutual friends sided with her, saying I went too far and that I wasn't a girl's girl. They started avoiding me. But at this point, I don't even care anymore. I just want to know if I went too far. Was I wrong to expose her like that? Or was it justified after everything she and her brother put me through? Am I the asshole here? This follower needs your opinions, babes. Please drop some below and don't forget to follow me for more story times. I thought I was alone in the house a few weeks ago when I heard someone whisper my name. It was a Sunday afternoon. My sister had left for the weekend to stay at her boyfriend's place, and I had the entire apartment to myself. Or so I thought. Now, a little background story. I moved in with my sister last year after leaving my parents' house in another state. My mom was controlling and always complaining about everything I did. And so when my sister offered to let me stay with her while I looked for a job, I jumped at the chance. I landed a job as a customer service rep at a bank within weeks of moving in. My schedule kept me busy Monday through Saturday, and so Sundays were my only days to relax. That Sunday, I was sprawled on the couch, binge watching a TV show when I heard it, a faint whisper, Effie. That is my name, by the way. I froze. The TV was still playing, but a voice had come from behind me near the hallway. My heart started pounding immediately. I told myself it was just my imagination, but then I heard it again, clearer this time. Effie. I muted the TV and sat up, straining to listen. The apartment was silent, but I was sure I had heard someone call my name. I grabbed my phone, my fingers trembling as I unlocked it. Maybe my sister had come home early. I shouted her name, but I heard no response. I called her on the phone and there was still no response. Then I texted her, "Hey, are you home?" No response. I stood up, my legs feeling like jelly, and crept toward the hallway. The whisper had come from near my bedroom. The door was slightly open, which was strange because I always kept it closed. I pushed it open slowly, but the room was empty, just as I'd left it. I let out a shaky laugh. Get a grip, I told myself. You are just freaking yourself out. Just then, I heard sounds coming from the living room, the room I had just left. I stood there frozen. What do I do? My phone was in the living room, and someone was definitely in the house with me. Part 2 is up. Now, let me rewind a bit. A week after I moved in with my sister, I met the landlord's son, Adam. He was incredibly attractive, and I won't lie, I was immediately drawn to him. He was charming, sweet, and always had a smile for me. We started talking, and soon we were flirting. My sister, however, was against it. She warned me that Adam was trouble, and told me to stay far away from him. But I thought she was overreacting. She's always overthinking everything, never has any fun, and thinks everyone is bad news. I didn't listen to her. Adam and I started dating, but I kept it hidden from my sister. At first, everything was amazing. He was romantic, buying me flowers and making me feel special. But then, things started to change. He became possessive, hot-tempered, and extremely jealous. It got to a point where I couldn't take it anymore. So I ended things with him. But he didn't take the breakup role. He accused me of cheating and became furious. My sister and his dad had to get involved to get him to back off. That was 3 months ago, and since then he has avoided me. Now back to that Sunday. I tiptoed back to the living room, my heart racing. I heard the front door open and someone ran out. I immediately ran after the person. Part 3 is up. I had a feeling it was Adam trying to scare me. And when I ran outside, I saw Adam sitting in front of his room, pressing his phone like nothing had happened. I asked him if he had been in my house, and he looked at me like I was crazy. His friend came out of his room and backed him up, saying Adam had been with him the whole time and had just come outside to sit. I called my sister and she came back immediately. I told her someone had been in the house with me, but she said pointed out that I had locked the door from the inside, and so there was no way someone could have entered from the outside. Adam and his friend both swore he hadn't been in my apartment, but I knew what I heard. Someone was definitely in that house with me. Since then, I've been scared to be in the house alone, and now Adam has started coming around again. He has been there for me. My sister doesn't know, but he has been coming inside when she's not around to keep me company. He claims he has changed, that he was going through a lot at the time, and he wants a second chance. Part of me wants to believe him, but I can't shake the feeling that something isn't right. Do men like Adam really change? Should I give him a second chance? I feel like I'm going crazy and I don't know what to do. Please help me. This follower needs your advice, babes. Please drop some below, and don't forget to follow me for more story times.